So much paper, so little time. Folks, welcome to the Fallon Forum. I want to thank the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club and also Iowa Physicians for Social Responsibility. And do not forget the Great March for Climate Action for sponsoring this program. We're going to be talking tonight with a couple students from Roosevelt High School about an upcoming play at the Playhouse. You will not want to miss this. And also we'll be talking with Chris Diebel later in the program. He's a candidate for the at-large seat on the Des Moines City Council. And also, to kick it off, we're going to talk with Suvana Southamavong and Lang Vong about the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit. I do want to thank a couple of our business supporters. Kim Foley with N-Touch Therapy Services. Kim's a massage therapist, a physical therapist, and normally she charges $50 for a full hour-long body massage. This time it's $40 if you're a new customer. Give her a shout, folks, 979-8629, 979-8629. I also want to thank Hawk Restaurant, one of our restaurant allies. Hawk Restaurant is in the East Village at East 5th and Walnut, and 90% of the food you find on your incredibly lavish plate comes from local farms, local producers. And I do want to thank the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit for helping to sponsor this program. And we're going to learn a little bit more about this in just a second here when we go to our phone lines and welcome Suvana to the program. And Lang Vong, hello. How are you two?
How are you?
Good.
Good.
So we've been kind of keeping tabs on how this is progressing. And just in case folks are just tuning in or haven't been tracking this, this is an annual event. It's been going on for 5 or 6 years. It attracts about 400 or 500 people, and not just immigrants. I mean, I'm an immigrant from back the 1920s or so, but I'm still going. I'm still welcome there. I can still learn a lot there because this is about how to grow your business, or if you don't have a business yet, how to start one up, get it running. And the workshops that you provide, I think, are exceptional. And I think one of the guests that you're introducing us to tonight, Lang Vong, is someone who has been a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Ed, for having us here. I just wanted to kick off. I know, obviously, you and your listeners probably get tired of listening to me, so I brought somebody that's a little bit more pretty and more knowledgeable.
Well, hey, if they get tired of listening to you, they're surely tired of listening to me.
So Lang is the owner of Achilles Design here in Des Moines, and she's been one of the participants at IES for a number of years now. And so I just wanted to hand it over to her and kind of give her kind of what has she learned within the whole process in the summit.
Hi, Lang.
Hello.
So you have a business. To tell us the name of it again?
Yes, it's Achilles Design and Marketing Services. It's a full-service graphic design and marketing company.
And where are you located?
I am located in Windsor Heights, off of Hickman Road.
Okay. And what did you learn at the summit? Was this last year that you started your business?
Well, I've had my business for a while and have actually attended the summit. This will be my third year, and I've actually have had a booth there the last, this will be my third year having one, and I meet a bunch of entrepreneurs and who do go there for the education and all of that, and it's just a great, overall, I've met so many people, and it's just a great place for me to network and meet people and see how I can help them out as well. And a lot of people do go there for the education and just learning how to manage their business and grow it. And
now, plenty of business startups fail, but you're doing okay. You're not yet a multimillionaire, but you're doing okay.
Yes, I am. I'm not at that stage yet, but.
And some of the things you learned at the conference in the past have been very helpful for you in your work.
It has been, yeah. And this year I'm actually going to help and have a seminar on social media marketing as well. So I've kind of gone from just kind of transitioned into the person who will help teach.
Good. Well, congratulations. I'm looking forward to it. And folks, if you'd like to attend, it's only $35, which is really an incredible deal for the number of expertise, the amount of expertise you pull down from the workshops that are available. And again, it's that includes breakfast and lunch. So go online to iesusa.org and see about signing up. Do you have a cap on registration, Suvana? Is there a point at which you got to say, folks, that we're all filled up?
500 is what we're shooting for. So, it's selling like hotcakes. So get your name in as soon as possible here. www.iesusa.org.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Ling. Good luck with your work, and we'll see you on November 9th.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, switching gears, as you know, folks, Des Moines is the cultural and culinary crossroads of America. Don't let that get out too far and wide, though, or all those crazy Yankee fans will want to move here. But we've got lots of cultural stuff happening in Des Moines, incredible stuff, in fact. And including at the high school level, we have a couple Roosevelt students in the studio with us tonight. They're going to tell us about their school's performance of Pippin. And I misspoke earlier. I said the Playhouse. Because Roosevelt is right across from the Playhouse, I get those two things mixed up. But yes, it's going to be at the Roosevelt High School Auditorium coming up on November 7th, 8th, and 9th. Welcome to the program, Emma and Integrity. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And tell us about Pippin. Who is this guy?
Pippin is a boy. He kind of just graduated high school or college, however you feel to interpret it, and he is trying to find his life's journey, and he goes up and down and tries many different things to try to figure that out.
I mean, what does he try legal things or illegal things?
Both.
Both? Okay. Yeah.
He tries going to war and figures out that doesn't really work. Okay.
Going to war doesn't work.
No.
Oh, I'm glad he found out that doesn't work.
Yes.
And Integrity, what's your take on the play? Does it have meaning for you and for our community? Is there some, other than just the fun of seeing kids acting, is there some message in this play that people might want to consider taking home with them?
Yeah, there is. It's about taking a journey and being able to really believe in your decisions and knowing that you're going to have to live with those things for the rest of your life. So you just have to know what you want to do. So I guess it just gets people motivated to really take hold of their lives.
Okay. And what role do you play in the
I play Fastrada, the queen.
You're the queen.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the presence of royalty here, Maddie. That's okay. Do you cut off anybody's head or anything?
No.
Okay. How about you, Emma? What is your role?
I'm playing leading player, and she's like the manipulator of the whole show.
Manipulator.
Yeah, I'm inside Pippin's head and helps push him one way or the other for his decisions.
Oh, that sounds nasty.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so are you both? Are you seniors? Where are you at? You are?
Yeah, we're both seniors.
So plans for next year? College?
Yeah.
In the process of looking.
Yeah.
But
Okay, it's a ways away.
Yeah.
Sure. I decided where to go to college in May of my senior year.
that works.
Barely. So, any thoughts? Are you going to study theater?
I think theater is one of those things I want to study, but I'm not sure I want to major in it. But yeah, I want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, what other productions have you been involved with at Roosevelt?
Well, I've been in Beauty and the Beast, which was a couple years ago, and last year in Chicago, and then just some of the drama competitions throughout the year. So that.
Okay. Good. How about you, Emma?
Exact same with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are tracking the same career path so far. Okay. Yeah. Do you see yourself potentially having a career in acting? Or are you more sensible than that? No, just kidding.
No, I don't think for me, but it's definitely a passion and something I won't ever give up. So,
of all the different types of artistic endeavors, you think about music, art, dancing, acting. Theater is possibly the lowest lowest item on the totem pole when it comes to any kind of compensation. I mean, the people I know, the friends I have who act and who spend incredible hours night after night preparing for a performance, and usually they do it for free or for a pittance. I will say, I think overall, musicians tend to be treated a little better than actors, and I hope that we get to the point. We have about 7 or 8 theater troupes in Des Moines, not including production companies like the one at Roosevelt. We have some great theater going on, and people need to support that. People need to get out and attend these performances, show that you care, and and when you pay, what is the ticket? $10?
yeah.
I mean, it should be a lot more than that. I mean, the truth is these performances, if you started actually, and I'm not saying you guys should be paid. No, you should go out and work at McDonald's and do your studies. No, I'm kidding about that too. Do your studies. Forget the McDonald's part. But no, I mean, for the professionals, and we have some great talent in this town, and they should be compensated. So I'm hoping we get to the point where we see our actors getting paid, decent wages. Because right now it's been pretty thin pickings when it comes to actually employment in that field. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and I hope to get to one of these productions myself. Yeah. We will be giving away a couple tickets, I understand, on either my Fallon Forum Facebook page or the Fallon Forum website. So I will leave it as a mystery as to which one will be the host site for that giveaway, but that'll be happening pretty soon. The production is next week, 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's November 7th, 8th, and 9th, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Roosevelt High School in the auditorium at 4419 Center Street. So, Emma, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Integrity, thank you for joining us. All right. Folks, we're going to talk with Chris Diebel shortly here. He's going to be in the studio with us. He's one of the three candidates running for the at-large city council seat. The other is Margaret Troe, a Socialist Workers' Party member. And for the life of me, I never understand why people cite their party affiliation in a nonpartisan election, especially when that party has the word socialist in it. The other candidate is incumbent Skip Moore. He has been on this program. I have not been able to reach Margaret Troe to have her on this program. I don't know why. If you're a candidate, you make yourself hard to access. Go figure. But anyway, Chris will be joining us shortly. I do again want to thank the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit for sponsoring this segment of our show. Again, folks, if you have any hope at all, any ambition at all to start your own business, the IES is the place to go. The Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit, November 9th. All day long from 9 till 4. You've got breakfast, you've got lunch, you've got great workshops. Check it out, folks. It's going to be at Drake University's Olmsted Center, and that's right on the heart of campus. $35 to enroll in the IES conference, IESUSA.org. I also want to thank Community CPA. And again, the founder of Community CPA, Ying Sa, is one of the brains behind the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit. That's at 3816 Ingersoll Ave, and now the 10th largest accounting firm in the state. I got to thank Ritual Cafe as well. Ritual Cafe, one of my favorite places for a cup of tea, and I hear tell the coffee's darn good. Just not a coffee drinker myself, but I hear it's great stuff. I can tell you the smoothies are great, the paninis are great, and almost always the quality of the music on Friday and Saturday evening is fantastic as well. Okay, folks, we're going to switch gears here. We've been talking business, we've been talking culture, now we're going to talk politics. I commend all the people who responded favorably to my invitation to come and be on this program, and we have two more candidates who will appear. One is Jean Minahan. She's going to join us tomorrow. The election is next Tuesday. And with me in the studio tonight is Chris Diebel. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ed. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you.
You as well.
So just start out, your spiel. Why are you running? What's your 30-second commercial?
Well, the 30-second commercial is there's a really unique opportunity in the at-large seat to play a role in bridging the gap between neighborhood advocacy and small business development. I know you're a fan of local businesses, as am I. That's what I've spent my career doing. I've also been very active in my neighborhood association and a lot of area nonprofits, and I think I can harness those skills, take it to the next level, and serve all four corners of the city.
Yeah, well, that's and you've done. I mean, your background has been in helping to promote, again, local business, but cultural stuff as well.
Yeah, as a career, I serve as a public affairs consultant for client companies. I focus on small businesses here in Central Iowa. I've worked on about $40 million worth of new businesses in this community. I've worked on a lot of adaptive reuse projects, which I find particularly exciting. I think they really add to the culture.
And they save that historic quality that is so often lost in development these days.
We have to have it. I mean, that's what makes us unique. Very rarely, I think, is there new construction that is as viable as the old stuff.
By viable, you mean pretty?
No, not just pretty.
Well, and functional too.
Yeah, it's got to be functional.
Sure.
You know, Gateway Market, which is a client of mine, and
that used to be the M&M building.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that was kind of just sitting there rotting away, and those clients took that place, you know, and really invested a lot in it. Didn't do it with any city money, I might add, and that takes some really special ingenuity. I've learned from some of the best, and I think that's the kind of stuff we need to embrace and endorse in this city if we're going to maintain the trajectory that we're on.
Let me ask you one question relevant to small business.
Sure.
Some of my business clients, my friends, I mean, not necessarily my clients, but other businesses I've talked to complain about excessive city regulations. One example is putting tables and chairs on a sidewalk in front of your cafe or restaurant. Yeah. I mean, you get charged a couple $100 a year to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, and you start adding up the cost of a liquor license. I mean, all the little different
grease
things.
Traps.
Grease traps. Yeah. I know of a place that all they serve is a little bit of milk with the tea and coffee, and they have to put in a grease trap. What can you do as a city councilman to create a more fair and reasonable regulatory framework at the local level for businesses that deal with those kinds of problems?
Right, and it's not just, by the way, it's not just a little milk. I mean, anymore, if you're putting in a commercial dishwasher, you're required to have one of these things. And just so everybody knows, these are things that are $50,000, $75,000 sometimes.
Yeah.
So if you're a small business and you're trying to make it,
it's prohibitive.
It's very prohibitive, and not everybody can do $1 million restaurant. And
so what can you do as a city councilman to change that?
Well, there's a couple things, and one of the immediate ones that I'm a big fan of is we have to loosen up regulations on food trucks. Not only are these just cool and hip right now across the country, they are.
Well, but a lot of minorities are able to get a start in the business community doing that.
It's minorities, it's young culinary talent. As I mentioned, if you don't have $1 million to go do a restaurant, but you want to express your culinary talents, it's a perfect avenue to cut your chops. The other thing is, not everybody wants to do something that is commercially viable to the extent that it can afford a brick and mortar restaurant. So let's say you want to do some fringe food. I mean, anymore, we've got some really great banh mi's in this city, for instance, but there was a time when a restaurant couldn't just be a banh mi and pho restaurant, So you would do that sort of thing in a food truck because your overhead is, you can get a used food truck for $50,000.
What do you say to the owners of a restaurant that may serve Mexican food, that a half a block away, a little taqueria, a little mobile vending unit sets up, and they're able to come in with much lower costs? I mean, again, I agree with you. I support that. But what do you say to the argument that, hey, that's not fair to the existing restaurant to have somebody come in and undercut our prices?
I have heard that argument. I don't think it's very valid, and I'll tell you why. I mean, it's a very different experience. Walking up to a truck out in the elements and paying for something cash in hand, and then walking away and eating it on a park bench or in your car or whatever is a different experience than a full-service dining operation where you get to sit down, enjoy an ambiance, all of that. I think it's just a different beast. There's everything from restroom facilities, all of that stuff.
Sure.
I have a number of restaurant clients, and all of them are huge advocates of food trucks.
Really?
I just haven't heard anybody
that's
against it.
I have heard that, but it's good to know there are some that also don't mind the competition.
That's right.
On the related subject of the economy, of local business, what do you see as the appropriate role for city government when it comes to taxpayer-financed subsidies for growth and development?
Yeah, we need to be careful. As I probably already tipped my hand, I'm a big fan of adaptive reuse. Those projects just frankly cost more than new construction, and I believe they deserve the helping hand to make them viable.
So what about money for a new hotel down on the river?
Yeah, you got to watch that, especially because personally I was always against that one, and I'll tell you, one of the reasons why is think about supply and demand here, right? We only have we have X amount of hotel rooms, and the demand is only so much. We have average room occupancy, and we got to monitor that closely. They're now advocating for this big convention hotel, and if we follow the logic that that's needed, and for what it's worth, I can see the logic in attracting those large-scale events and the people that come with it. But we drop 400 some odd rooms onto that, and then we drop a couple hundred more on the river. At what point do we oversaturate the market?
Should the city have given principal money?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
I would disagree with that. But
yeah. Why is that?
Well, they're not going anywhere.
Right.
They're immensely profitable. They're basically just they're not really adding employment. They're just retooling their layout, and that's not something that the public sector should pick up, in my opinion.
Well, but it's also spearheading the Keogh Way North. I mean, I think we're going to see, because of their investment, a ton of effort there. I know the folks over at Come and Go that do their development, they're going to put a LEED certified store on there, in part because Principal's expanding and growing there. I think that we'll see that Keogh Way expansion help percolate some interest and excitement into River Bend and so on. So,
but by and large, you would not go as far as the current city council has gone in terms of public incentives or development.
Frankly, Ed, we're not going to have the money to go. I mean,
well,
we're just not.
Moot point.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we've had some handcuffs put on us in revenue growth, and as taxpayers, many of us think, oh, great, we don't have to pay as much taxes or more down the road. But at the state level, they're going to infill this for a couple of years and then wean us from it. And we're we're going to have to make some tough choices. Maybe not in the next 4 years, but in the next 10 for sure. So
let me ask you about the brochures. This was not an issue when I first invited you to join us on the show, and not even when I ran into you, but it has become a huge issue. I mean, letters to the editor saying, whoa, this is bad. Facebook posts all over the place. People are not happy with the mailing that kind of implies that Skip Moore is responsible for the failure of the franchise fee. Right. I mean, people are the register is asking you to apologize. People are asking you to apologize. I think another mailing came out today. What's your take on it? Was it the right decision to do this negative mailing?
Well, here's what I think about this. First and foremost, we did 10 mailings in this campaign. 7 of them are all about me, my bio. They don't even mention my opponent. There are 3 contrast pieces out there. This situation has been going on since 2004. It hasn't been resolved until 2013. If you look at the timeline that was publicly circulated around with this court hearing, there was 17 points in which major things happened in these appeals process after appeals process after appeals process that did happen during the last 4 years. My argument is no one's saying he caused it. But he did.
It looks like, I mean, the brochure looks like you're implying he caused it. I mean, and I experienced this personally too. Boswell put out brochures implying that I caused the election of George Bush and the Iraq War. I mean, he basically implied.
Did? You're that powerful?
I kicked some butt. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
My argument is, leaders inherit all kinds of things. And I'm not saying that my opponent caused the franchise fee issue. What I am saying is for the past 4 years, there have been multiple opportunities to say we need to put money aside here, folks. We need to prepare for what could be an inevitable conclusion that we're going to have to pay some of this back. And now we're in a $42 million quagmire.
So your indictment is of the entire council.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I'm running in the at-large race, and so I want to serve the entire city. I don't want to run in a ward. I want to serve the entire city.
Because actually, you do live in Ward 1, which is an open seat.
No, I live in Ward 3.
Ward 3. Okay. So,
yeah.
That's it. Right. That's Chris Hensley's seat. Gotcha.
I live downtown.
Right.
And
okay. Sure. Yeah.
And so, my perspective is at a community-wide level. I want to run at that level. So, of course, I'm focused on that at-large seat, and this is my opponent. Now, when you do retention for an incumbent, you have to decide on balance if they're worth retaining. And, nobody's perfect. People make mistakes. So as it pertains to the ward seats, folks have to decide for themselves if they believe that their ward rep did enough good to negate some of the mistakes. But I do believe that failing to act on this was a mistake. And I think because there was 17 times in this court case in the last 4 years that someone could have spoken, it's a relevant issue.
But the same criticism you would have leveled against Chris Hensley or Mayor County?
It's a citywide issue.
Again, the content of the brochure, you stand by that. You think the criticism is valid.
I've had multiple lawyers look at it before and after. I've cited all of these documentations in the register and going forward. So, I think it's something that people need to be paying attention to. As I said, they got $42 million worth of reasons.
And what about the political side of it? I mean, there's you're getting a lot of grief politically for this. Do you regret it politically?
I get grief from some. I get praised from others.
On balance, what's that look like?
What's that?
On balance, what does the praise versus grief look like?
Well, you see budget hawks that are really proud that someone's stepping up and talking about this. And then you see others saying, why did you bring this up? Why did you bring this up? This is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. But, leaders tackle uncomfortable issues. And I think that's what we're doing here. We could have been, since 2004, lobbying the State House to raise our hotel motel tax. We could have been...
That doesn't mean you would succeed. You can lobby the State House till you're blue in the face, and maybe you'll, at the end of the day, still be blue in the face.
Could have tried, though. I mean, you could have tried. We could be looking at a payment in lieu of taxes for the 40% of tax-exempt properties out there.
I know that the city has lobbied for that.
Sure, and we need to keep doing it. There's this notion I talked about in the paper recently, this notion of entertainment fees. Other cities are doing this all over, much like a Ticketmaster fee.
Does that require enabling legislation as well?
I don't believe that one does. It might take some county coordination.
But see, all of those things require other people than the city council to do something. And you can't,
sure.
you can't be responsible for what other elected officials do.
Somebody could take some leadership here and start kicking around ideas. We saw this train coming down the tracks for a long time. Yeah. So That's the focus there. But what I hope people see on balance is I'm not scared to tackle big issues, even though sometimes they're uncomfortable. It would have been very easy to just send out bio pieces, but that's not what this is about. We've got to prove to people that I'm willing to speak up. You're somebody who speaks up.
Well, yeah, I get in trouble for that all the time.
And we don't always have to agree. I mean, rational minds can disagree on issues like this, but the idea is to move the needle on the conversation. So
I don't think anybody minds that a big issue has been brought up. I know it was brought up during forums as well. I think what people mind is this looks like an indefensible attack, that people aren't understanding why this had to happen. People don't lie. I mean, I know negative campaigning does, quote, work, but I know people are also more and more annoyed by it. So it's kind of politically, yeah. I'm glad I'm not in your shoes on this one. I just think
I'm annoyed by the $42 million price tag.
Sure.
But here's the thing. I've talked about it in multiple articles in the Register. It's something I've been talking about for weeks and weeks. And as I mentioned, 7 of the 10 pieces that we sent out don't even mention my opponent. And my opponent's got to run on his record,
right.
And that's what he's got to do. So I'm going out there, I'm telling people, hey, this has been my experience. This is what I do, and here is a case study is how I would have handled this differently. I've put it out on my social media, put it out on my website, and I've written a letter to the editor that's going to come out in the next couple days. So
good timing.
Yeah.
Hey, you as a young person who is kind of on the cutting edge of some key stuff here in Des Moines, I think you probably understand the crisis that is climate change.
Mm-hmm.
What should the city do to address climate change?
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because I think there's a couple things that we could be looking at just from the perspective that I'm in, right? So some of our clients have hired firms like Recycle Me Iowa, and what they're doing is they're diverting compostable waste from landfills. And it's amazing. Gateway Market and Centro, for examples, I mean, they're diverting tons.
Well, I'll bet.
Tons. And this is like a week.
Literally tons, yeah.
Literally tons a week. From landfills. We've got to be promoting this more. Another thing, you probably know I serve on a lot of nonprofit organizations, and we throw a lot of events, rent out, close down streets and throw big parties. These parties create tons of waste.
Sure.
And they're great for economic development. They're great for stimulating the community and growing a base. But what could we be doing to incentivize those folks to use services like Recycle Me Iowa? It's actually pretty cheap. I've used them on a few events.
Yeah.
But there's carrots and sticks, right? When you close down streets for an event, you pay permit fees, you pay rental fees for all these barricades and flashing lights that say road closure ahead. You pay hundreds in police officer fees. I mean, there's a ton of fees, and I just question on this issue, perhaps maybe one of the things we do is offer some incentive by reducing some of these fees if you're willing to incorporate recycling into your program. I mean, think about it. There's dozens and dozens of events that happen downtown alone, but you take that at a citywide level, there's probably hundreds of events.
A big issue for me is community gardening. I think the more we can produce food locally, the more we cut down on travel and carbon emissions. Des Moines has just a few garden locations.
Yeah.
I'd like to see us expand them.
No doubt.
My other concern is the Parks and Rec head wants to now establish a $25 per plot fee, which for some of us will be $150 or even $300.
You have that many plots?
I have 6.
Wow.
I know one guy who has 12.
Wow.
And the truth is, people should be able to have multiple plots. There's certainly plenty of vacant lots. Would you commit to ixnaying that $25 per plot fee?
Yeah, that seems egregious because
it's empty land.
It's empty land. I had one of those plots for years downtown at the Downtown Community Garden. I love it, and I love the neighbors.
Yeah.
Some of these people, because you get grandfathered into your plot, so at least in the one I use. So some of them are doing amazing cutting gardens with perennials. I always did food, but it's pretty cool.
It's nice to combine flowers and food.
But it's also neat to see how the immigrant populations are using these community gardens.
We have a lot of immigrants at the Franklin Community Garden. I mean, from Nepal, Iraq, several countries in Africa. I have a Kenyan woman next to me. It's really a wonderful place. And these are low-income people, and you're going to be charging them $25, $50, $100. Yeah,
exactly. There was in my grad school studies, there was a case study on how you could impact neighborhoods with community gardens, and how you might use it as not only a nonprofit revenue source, but also a way to combat food deserts, where you put these in, and anybody who's willing to go donate 5 hours a week of their time gets free fresh groceries to take home.
I'm running out of time, Chris, but 3 quick questions.
Yeah.
Bike lanes, a fan or not?
Yeah, when they're in the right spot. I mean, we got to think about that thoughtfully, but yeah,
Okay.
If we're going to be a 21st century city, we got to get with the times.
Second question, Great March for Climate Action. Can you join us next year for a day?
Sure. When is it?
Well, probably mid-August here in Iowa.
Okay.
All right. Third question, Red Sox or Cardinals?
Red Sox.
Excellent answer. All right, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I want to thank all the candidates who have taken time to come and share their views on this program. I want to thank all of my business supporters as well. Corazon Coffee Roasters. This is a business in West Des Moines that specializes in fair trade coffee and fair trade tea. Check them out, folks. Information on my website and also on their website, Corazon Coffee Roasters. I want to thank Tally's Restaurant, Bar, and Catering in Beaverdale. I also want to thank Fighting Burrito with locations here in Des Moines and in Ames. I want to thank the bookstore, John Heitzman's business, on Locust Ave between 6th and 7th, one of the only 2 locally owned bookstores in Des Moines. That's between 6th and 7th on Locust. I want to thank Diana's Wedding Cakes out of Newton. And I want to thank Gateway Market and Cafe, where I was able to sneak in last night just before the closing hour to make it back home with a fantastic spread of fruit for a wonderful breakfast I had this morning. So check out Gateway Market and Cafe, folks, not just for groceries, but for breakfast, lunch, supper, and also a fantastic catering service. You know, no need to spend your money at a business, a grocery store that may, ship its dollars down to Austin, Texas or somewhere. Keep them here, keep them local.
Amen.
I want to thank, amen from Chris. All right. I want to thank Maddie Kane, my producer. I want to thank the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club, also Iowa Physicians for Social Responsibility, and the Great March for Climate Action. Thank you to Webcast One Live. I'll be back tomorrow.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.